So shares of Palantir, the data analytics company, soared over the last 2 or 3 days after announcing a partnership with Ijaz, the connected vehicle data company. So what exactly do Ijaz do, and why is this important for Palantir? First, let's take a look at the charts. So we can see Palantir has had a really nice run here from about the 26 mark to now sitting close to 29, trying to push through 29 and then the $30 mark. We broke the previous resistance set in June at the top there of 27.42, and now we're into some green space here now that we've cleared this resistance level, which was a strong resistance level going back to March and even further back to January. So you can see this is an important resistance level to break, and we are 70% off our lows on the 12th of May. So 11th, 12th of May, we were at the 17 level. I think we even wicked, what was the low there? The low was 17.06. So we're well off that now, sitting at 28.89. But what has this deal got to do with how Palantir is now heading up? So a few stats on Ijaz. So Ijaz are a connected vehicle data company. They have 16 billion data points and they track 11 million vehicles every single day. So 16 billion data points coming in every single day. They've digested trillions of data points on vehicles. And the type of data they collect are EV data. They've got entertainment data from your infotainment systems. They can see LiDAR data. They can see some location data in some instances, powertrain data, and much more. Across the access and permission they have spans across 50 million vehicles. And we know that a data analytics play is, the amount of data being produced by vehicles nowadays is a great opportunity for OEM manufacturers, the likes of GM, Ford, BMW, Volkswagen Group. They would love to see the outputs of this data to improve their business. And that's where Ijaz are positioning themselves. They want to be able to bring all this data in and then turn it into intelligence, which they can sell to these OEM manufacturers, right? So they've got all these data points and they want to drive the end use cases, but they can't make sense of this data, okay? So Ijaz have managed to collect the data. They've got all the permission for these various data sets. And this is where Palantir comes into fruition. And this is why Palantir has partnered smartly with Ijaz, because Palantir have been working for 15 years on their Foundry platform. And their Foundry platform is designed exactly for that. This is what they're using for the defense, for government contracts, for vaccine rollouts, and various other things. They're taking large data sets, for example, COVID tests and PCR tests, and they're turning that into insights for governments and defense agencies, right? And they can do the same for these corporates. So they can take all this data from vehicles and they can turn it into actions, such as they can maybe tell a parts supplier what to improve on component quality. They can tell regulators what could be better for the future of autonomous driving. They can help city planners to better inform their infrastructure decisions. They can help retail customers of cars maybe improve on their insurance premiums by providing them with more data. So all of this comes with them needing to provide insights, and that's where Palantir have jumped in and offered and partnered with their Foundry platform. Now, why are we making such a big deal about this? Why is the market up so much just because of this one partnership with Ijaz? Now, obviously, Ijaz are a good company. They've got GM, they've got Microsoft as partners, and they have good traction in the space. But it shouldn't lead to the stock being that massively up, should it? Well, my thesis behind this is we've spoke at previous earnings calls when we've dissected the Palantir numbers that we need to see more diversification in the revenue base for Palantir. We spoke heavily about two things. We said, one, they were too focused on defense and government contracts. And two, they're too focused on the US as a geography. So by doing this partnership here, they're tackling that. They've made their first inroads into a commercial partnership. And that's why the market, in my opinion, is responding really positively to this, because finally Palantir have been able to show that their Foundry system is useful for commercials. And if they can do that, then there's no reason they can't roll into other commercial businesses, big companies, blue chip companies, S&P, FTSE companies here in the UK, and say, hey, look at so-and-so company. They're making great use of our Foundry platform to give them better insights on their data, and then they can tackle that. Because at the moment, they're just too much of a mysterious company. If you're a large company like Amazon or Apple or any other of the top blue chip companies, are you really going to go to Palantir and start using their data analytics company? There's no proven path there, right? It's all governments and defense agencies, where if they can start building in to approving the use cases for commercial companies, I think that will help them diversify their revenue stream, which will be a great plus for the stock and for investors holding this stock. So there you go, guys. That's the update on why Palantir is up massively over the last few months. I mean, I'm looking at this from a May point of view because that's when I started to really build my position. I took advantage of that dip. My cost base is probably around $20. I need to check, but you know, this is doing pretty well, and it's interesting from a technical perspective. If we just go back to the charts, it's interesting from a technical perspective that you can see we've now cleared this resistance line. So you had this green resistance here, and we've cleared above that now. I probably would expect to retest before we can then bounce higher. Obviously, we can see we had the crazy highs here. Can we go back up and test 38? First milestone is going to be breaking the key psychological level at $30 before we can think about higher numbers. But definitely an exciting point for the stock. It's been a bit of a slow mover. You can see we've been channeled sideways here for a long time. And finally, we got a bit of a push. And that's why you've got to be patient. If you have conviction in stock, you've got to hold the stock and be patient with the stock. There'll be a lot of FUD like there was with Palantir, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of doubt. But as long as they're getting on with their business and identifying the key areas of risk for them, that's what's important to us. And we identified that for Palantir, they've got to diversify that income. They've got to show some real traction in the commercial space. And I want to see them go from strength to strength here on the commercial space. And I want them to stop here with this Ijaz partnership. They've got to keep getting bigger and bigger company names on their list to say, look, they're using Palantir. So-and-so is using Palantir. Amazon's using Palantir. Apple's using Palantir. And then this stock will fly. And I think that's when it will start to get even more institutional investors on board. At the moment, they're just a company with great technology. They've got good revenues and solid revenue growth, but it's mainly driven by defense in the US, right? And until that diversifies out, the market is going to struggle to put large amounts of investment in here because it's too risky. So there you go, guys. Update on Palantir. We will see you in the next one.